90.9 WDET-FM. I'm Tia Graham. Soul food is one of the most identifiable American cuisines. The dishes were crafted from the scraps that were left behind for Black people at the time when enslavement of humans was the law of the land. With a little ingenuity and a lot of determination, those leftovers became a main attraction for Black families, and the rest of the country eventually caught on. Today, traditional dishes get new looks, and cooks experiment with different flavors, expanding the idea of what gourmet cuisine actually is. This week, an event takes place that places collard greens center stage. The Collard Green Cook-Off is in its third year and takes place at Chandler Park this weekend. Kari Frazier is the founder of the Detroit is Different publication and community group, and the organization hosts the event every single year. Kari, welcome back to the Metro.
Definitely. Thank you so much for welcoming me back to talk collard greens this weekend.
Super excited about this because I remember seeing the first year and I thought to myself, who is doing this?
Hilarious.
And I love the fact that it's happening in the city right now. But you've said that this event is not just about food, of course. It's about honoring legacy, building community, and reclaiming joy. I want to talk about the legacy of collard greens and soul food. This is a staple dish in the Black household. So what kind of memories are triggered when you cook or consume or just think about collard greens?
All right. So first off, I didn't get to cooking collard greens till I was much older. So like my collard green culinary experience is maybe about 10 years old.
That's okay.
You know,
you got some skin in the game.
A little bit. Now, of those 10 years, I've been good at not making them tough and everything, maybe for about, like, let's say 4. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I could probably bring a pot of greens to most family gatherings, and they'll be like, okay.
That's good to know that you have 10 years. Like you said, about 4 of them are good years.
Yeah, it takes some time to really know how to work with those collards because just the dish itself and what you can do. And the history of it definitely connects to our culture big time, just as the travel of the greens themselves. I was actually having an exchange, my lady and her friend Yasmin that's in it. She was like, yo, the story of collard greens isn't necessarily from West Africa, but it's many different stories. I'm going by what was uplifted from a collard green festival that's been happening in Atlanta for years. When I did the first collard green cook-off, Bob Malik Yakini, Detroit Black Food Community Sovereignty Network, and so many other works as well, reached out and he said, brother, you need to talk to these people in Atlanta that's been doing this festival for years. And they told me about the brother in Tampa that's actually from Detroit that's been doing a larger festival for about 20 years. And they were giving me so much of the history of collard greens and how that the journey of the collard green, similar to our journey, comes here throughout the Mayafa, the Middle Passage. And from those seeds, a lot of our people that were enslaved started planting the greens. And it was always looked at as a weed, something that was like slop, something that would not be respected. But we always knew the value of what was in the greens because it's more than the greens. You also get the water that it's cooked in, the pot liquor, and so much that you can get from collard greens and taste. Now, that's just like the rawness of a collard green, but for it to, the flavor and the culinary experience is the cut. It's how you massage the greens. It's like the timing of the cooking of the greens. Like it really becomes a science, and the cook-off goes into so much of that science. And the way that it's cooked in Liberia, Ghana, different styles. We've seen the winner the past 2 years. Chef Buddha has like a little bit of a Caribbean style with how he's done it before. So you can have a lot of ways.
For people who typically aren't familiar, who've never had collard greens before, actually one of our team members here on the Metro had them for the first time not too long ago and absolutely enjoyed them. But for folks who don't know, could you give them an idea of what it tastes like? I mean, for your personal preference, I know it's different for different folks. So what's your preference in terms of the taste and the texture of the collard green?
Okay, so here we go. That's actually what the judges are. They're voting on the taste, the texture, and the creativity. We have a very, he's almost like, I would say, infamous judge, comedian Howie Bell. We have the commercial about it. So he's like, I don't like tough greens. I don't know. I like a collard to be a little bit tough. I don't want it to like be like cabbage, me personally.
Yes.
It's similar to like kale. So like massaging it really opens up a couple of different things, I think. But now you're spending more prep time, let alone cooking it down. So like first, before they even get in the pot, massaging and cleaning them. Cleaning the greens is that step. And through the massaging, you can get it where it's not as tough, and then you cut off the sides that you don't like. So I like it to be somewhere between what would I say? Like a good piece of kale or a hearty lettuce and a cabbage. Like it should feel in the flow of both, me personally, when I think texture. And when I think taste, I like spice. Some people say, I don't like sweet greens, but I like spice. So you're definitely going to have something kind of spicy with a little bit of kick, nothing too hot. And I'm not even big on stock. I don't use turkey. Definitely don't use pork in mine.
Mm-hmm.
I know many people in the tradition have pork.
Yeah.
A lot of people now have transitioned far away from pork because that's almost like the number one question people say. It's like, is it going to be some pork there? And it's like, no. The collard green cook-off, it's all turkey and vegan options.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say my mom has since transitioned about 10, 15 years now to using smoked turkey in her greens. So we just kind of roll with that. But when I, once again, think about either the history of it, the legacy, and the importance of what collard greens mean, why did you all choose, even though there are other festivals that you guys have pulled ideas from, but why collard greens? I mean, there are so many other staples within soul food and the Black tradition, especially in the United States of America, in terms of good dishes. Why collard greens?
Okay, so this kind of goes into the work of Detroit is Different. The more we've done things, we're leaning into the Black community, especially legacy Black Detroit, as much as possible. We like through lines that touch our culture, and almost other cultures are like, what's going on? It's like the more it can be that, the more it is Detroit is Different. So that is the My Natural Hair Show. That is the collard green cook-off. And similar to like the story of the collard greens, it's going to be us that uplift the elements of our culture that need to be on that platform, that national stage. The way that so many people in like Polish culture come for punchkis, because they're connecting to that. We're connecting to collard greens. So it's a part of our experience. It's a part of our journey. And really, that is the best way that we can platform something that is not so celebrity driven, but more so just celebrating the culture itself. Because so many things are so focused on like, well, this person will be in town or that person will be there. The collard green cook-off, the star is the collard greens. And you also, by coming out, you get a chance to vote too. It's like 50-50. Nice. It's audience and judge. And it's great to platform something where we can experience a intergenerational experience. Yes. Where many people all have different takes, because I know that's how I like collards, but other people like, I like them sweet. I like them a little tough. I want them like cabbage flimsy. I want more pot liquor in it. I want to taste a little bit of that turkey, because I personally don't like tasting a little bit of that turkey, that's me personally. But other people have different styles and different flavors, and we come together and we're platforming something that's been in our tradition as people that have gone through a Mayafa and people that have gone through definitely a great migration, but made Detroit our home, and legacy Black Detroit needs as much as we possibly can to uplift our culture. And that's what this is about.
You're listening to the Metro on 101.9 WDET-FM. My guest is Kari Frazier. He is one of the founders of the Collard Green Cook-Off event that's taking place this weekend at Chandler Park. Now, when we talk about, of course, that diaspora and food that's coming in, I want you to talk a little bit about how you've been able to establish partnerships in a community and a connection with local vendors and local growers and people around our city who are coming in once again to help branch out our food scene here in the city.
All right, so shout out big time to the Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund. Every one of the farmers are a part of the Farmer Land Fund, and they've been big in this. So we have about 500 pounds of collard greens that are grown in the city of Detroit that will be a part of this.
That's
so
amazing.
You have Oakland Avenue Farms and Mama Jerry and what she does. You have Urban Agricultural Farms and Romando and what he does. Mama Tree and her farms. So it's so many urban growers in the city of Detroit. And that's another big part of the collard green cook-off, is building the connection between the people that cook and the people that grow. And sometimes we think that these people are in the same room, but not necessarily on the same scale. Because so many farmers, as we think about a lot of changes that are happening from a federal perspective and all what Black farmers have gone through to the journey from the Mayafa, from enslavement to post, what we dealt with in Reconstruction to today, and the USDA finally deciding to like, okay, let's honor what needs to be honored and now pulling it back, so to highlight and know that we have so many people growing food right here in the city of Detroit. So whatever may happen, it's our people growing that food and connecting it. So it's a lot of people that even come from the cook-off and say, hey, can you introduce me to here? Can you introduce me to there? These people have their own farmers markets. They're doing business and it's in our community. So that is so wonderful of the connection that we get the growers to be platformed, because most people don't even know that there are farms as much as like my farm is like some of a side lot to people that have whole blocks throughout the city of Detroit growing food for our people.
And this, hearing you talk about that, of course, just thinking about the diaspora, the Great Migration, and how a lot of our ancestors, I know my grandparents and great-grandparents, sharecroppers, worked on farms in Arkansas, came up here and continued to work on a farm and to continue to grow gardens. And so I'm thinking about how we're getting back to some of those roots and how we're connecting again in that way, especially when we talk about building the Black community back up to be a more self-sufficient community. So can you talk about how the collard green cook-off is just one off of that, just trying to continue that?
Like a lot of the work we do, it's one dynamic where Detroit is different, is driven in like different dynamics of, like we say, uplifting our culture and sparking a lot of critical thought and bringing different people to the room. So it's going to be other works that we're always doing. This one is very key because it seems far away as much as the impacts of what happened 5 years ago with COVID-19, but that really made people say, all right, where is our food coming from? That was the wake-up call where it's like, okay, I have these side lots. Let's turn these side lots into some farming. Let's get some boxes out here. How does that process grow? So many people went into that then, and now it's like falling back and quote unquote things are normal, whatever that means. Yeah. We need to definitely know that farm to table experience and not necessarily just look at it like, oh, it's just the hippie over there talking about something like that. It needs to be everybody, because we have to have access to grow our own foods. A film I saw that, I don't know if most people saw it, but recently it's in the theaters. It's like in time, I didn't even know really the plot as much, but the 40 Acres movie. If people even watch it, it's a film definitely more apocalyptic, but really just talking a lot about food supply and what happens to the food supply. And growing is something we can do. You have to make sure that we have our soil tested. We have to make sure we have the assets for that. And that's where I want to say food distribution today of crops and things like that, but Keep Growing Detroit and other institutions that are helping with this are present here in the city of Detroit. So the urban agricultural movement is very present if you're connected to it. But if you don't know, this is one of those spaces where you can come out, get connected, and more so than get connected, you can eat the collard greens, and it's like, okay, this is some good stuff we're growing here.
I know. And Kari, to your point about building community, we see a lot of food festivals in the city. There are barbecue festivals, vegan festivals, taco festivals, you name it. This weekend, there's a taco festival. Why do you think we also need festivals dedicated to collard greens and to just Southern food and traditions that are brought up through the diaspora and built out here in the city of Detroit? Why do you think we need this pinpointed festival?
All right, so I'm going to be honest with you. I've been doing events, really, if I go back, I'm 42. So like my first community event may be like a basketball game we did in our backyard, like in 1994 or something. So a long time, right? So since then, the number one hook, especially with getting Detroiters places, is food.
Yeah.
Food is actually a bigger celebrity than whatever the celebrity is. You know what I'm saying? As much as people are going to go and they're going to talk about the food and the food experience. So food plays a very big role in welcoming people, and it can connect people that usually would not necessarily be connected in that same room. So I do think that food is key in whatever you're going to do in gathering people. With that being key, especially if you can tie into a cultural dynamic and uplift it, where we're looking to really open up the book on not just the food being present, but the story of the food, the people that are growing the food, the people that are cooking the food. And it's also inside community. It's so cool that we're at Chandler Park this year. Yes. This is the first time we're on the east side. Yeah. The other times we were on the west side at the Andy Art Center the first year because of the rain thing. And then the next year we're at the Joseph Walker Williams Center on 12th Street. And everybody's like, it needs to be on the east side. It needs to be on the east side. So welcoming that energy and so much of the growing that's happening on the east side. It's happening on the west side too. But a lot of the growers are east that are participating in this.
Nice. I was going to say the east side often gets neglected in some of those conversations. A lot of the conversations that we have when we're talking about Detroit or resurgence or whatever you want to call about what's happening in the city from whomever's angle you're talking about it. But when we talk about the city of Detroit, once again, I drive through the east side often now because I'm a native west sider, so I've just been on the east side for a little while now, and I'm just amazed and surprised at seeing so many community gardens, so many community efforts that are happening throughout the city of Detroit. So I do want to ask you, because you have so much history and event planning and getting the community involved, I want you to talk about how you're planning on trying to connect both sides of the city. How do you see us connecting both sides of the city?
Well, definitely Detroit is different will be there and present because it's also changing right now. As you know, one of the biggest topics that has come up in the election now is it's a lot of renters. So a person will be on the west side today, they'll be on the east side tomorrow. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe on the outskirt in Inkster or something like that. Seriously. You know what I'm saying? The next day. So it's not what it was before, but we still want to anchor in those traditions for the people that have been there and that really pour into community. So I see it's going to be events like the Collard Green Cook-Off. It's going to be the My Natural Hair Show. Yes. And then we get into, like I would say, heavier topics too, but some of those things and the ideas and the partnerships that we're looking forward to have of people that really want to engage with the Black community. This is the key thing with dignity. So many events are, I think, pushed and forced upon us without the dignity of giving us that respect and that understanding of knowing how things come from. So like even the term celebration, I was talking with, shout out to Suzanne Clegg, my project manager that's always working with me with these things. But we were talking about working with like a new project, a new partner, and it was like, okay, this guy has to be happy. And I'm like, I don't know if happy is one of those words that Black people want to use often.
No.
You know, and no offense to those that do. Let's use celebration. Let's use enjoyment. Let's think from the arc of really what is connecting with our people, because so much of the language itself has been dog whistling terms that have ties to things that have been harmful to us and have hurt us. So it takes us that has that understanding of everyone being with dignity, even the people that often, quote unquote, are looked at and criminalized or forgotten. And when we can have an event where you come together and we all can be experts on collard greens, wherever you come from. It's not going to be a dividing factor. And we're welcoming people into the culture, because as much as it's going to be Black folks there, it's a lot of folks that, have Southern roots that are white and have said, yo, my mama makes some good collard greens too. So it's like, hey, you more than welcome to come too. Cornbread from Good Cakes and Bakes, because that's the other partner that goes with collard greens. Because if, collard greens without cornbread, it's like,
It's a little infuriating. And I was going to say as well, before we end the conversation, Kari, I was going to say, for me, my biggest turnoff, as soon as I eat greens and I can taste that you pulled them out the glory can. I just the fork is greens. I can't, and there's no offense, no shade, no shade to folks, but the glory, I can't do the glory.
I'm gonna shade you.
Shade me then. Throw me under the bus.
I'm gonna shade the glory greens, because we got so many growers here.
Yes.
So
okay, shade,
it's
please.
like, to connect with these growers and build in that, it really is, I don't even want to say going back in time, but it's really connecting, because like I say, COVID wasn't that long ago.
It was
so
not.
If you're looking at a grocery store as the only place you can get your food, and you have all these growers, and then you also have markets that are connecting with growers, we need to start connecting there.
My last question before I let you go, or last statement, I guess you can say, tell us about this Saturday.
All right. This Saturday from 2 to 6, Chandler Park. If you've never been to Chandler Park, first off, shame on you for being in Detroit, never going to Chandler Park. So that's step one. All right, so the next thing, be at Chandler Park. It's in the old tennis courts. Yep. If you don't know where that's at, just keep driving around. And it's say, hey, where them collard greens at, right? You're going to see a lot of people. It's going to be some signage and a lot of energy. You're going to be given a complimentary taste ticket from there. Every taste ticket is $2. You can go on Eventbrite and sign up and get some taste tickets in advance if you want to. But either way, just make sure you're there and ready to enjoy. And you're going to get voting chips. Yes. Everybody gets a voting chip. That's how you will make the decision of who the collard green chef of the day is, and they're gonna definitely want to get your vote. So make sure you're smart. It's definitely a registration voting process, and then a whole celebration on stage. It's like a competition you would imagine, like Who Got Talent or American Idol, but all over collard greens. Good judges. We have Howie Bell that I uplifting, comedian Coco, Orlando Bailey of Outlier Media, Micaiah Glenn, Bricks Wine, and you definitely need somebody in food. So in the business of food, Chef E will be there as well. This is a fun experience. Old Town Ducks we have for our celebration, a cheerleading squad that's cheerleading and practicing right there on the east side. So this is going to be fun. Many of our partners will come on stage, talk about some of the work they're doing in community. So Detroit is Different Live. You'll see me talking and all of that. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun, a community event, making sure that we highlight what's happening around the city of Detroit. Kari Frazier is one of the founders of the Collard Green Cook-Off. The event is Saturday from 2 to 6 p.m. at Chandler Park. And once again, Detroit is Different will be present as well. Kari, thank you so much for joining us on the Metro.
Thank you. Thank you.
On 101.9 WDET FM, and WDET has officially lost all federal funding. It amounts to hundreds of thousands of dollars per year that was lost. These cuts are a significant hit to WDET. And of course, the station isn't going anywhere, but locally produced programs like the Metro you're listening to right now are at risk. But there is something you can do about it. WDET is looking to add 1,000 new members. So join the WDET community now and fight to protect local news and Detroit-made public radio. Go to WDET.org/give right now. You can stay right there. We'll be back with the Metro.